Hi, my name is Cameron Lewis. I'm a second-year junior at Michigan State University studying mechanical engineering. First off, I'd like to thank you guys for taking the time to reach out to me and giving me the opportunity to tell you a little about myself. So I'll start off with the first question. When I was a kid, who did I want to be when I grew up? I would say without a doubt, I wanted to be like my grandpa. He is the most kind, most generous, most authentic, one of the best people you will ever meet. A little background on him, he grew up very poor, so right off the bat, he had to work for everything. He started working, started having a job at age 13 just to support his own family, and ended up putting himself through college and got a degree in biology and became a biology teacher at Bangor High School in Bangor, Michigan, and also one of the most winning softball coaches there. So the most important thing he taught me through all of his life and what he's learned is you have to work hard for everything. Nothing in this world comes easy. The world is against us, and we have to persevere and have grit in order to succeed and become who we want to become. And to this day, he's still a role model to me, still someone I aspire to be like, because I know if I'm like him, then things must be going pretty well. Second question, give me an example of when you had to work with someone who was difficult and how did you handle interactions with this person? So I think an example of this happened last year in my engineering class. We had a lab and it was a group of 4 of us, and I think from the onset I was probably the leader of the group because no one really had a drive. They were just trying to float through the class and trying to pass. So I was always on top of everything with timelines, when we needed to get our goals done, what we needed to do. And this one girl in my group was just stubborn about everything. Any idea I came up with, she would come up with the opposite idea. She just never wanted to agree with me. Instead of getting upset with her or just being upset and closing down, I decided to somewhat compromise with her because if people in the group are fighting, nothing's going to get done. So instead of fighting, I would try to reason with her and use some of her ideas, use some of my ideas, which in the end, our group ended up being asked to go to this design day because of our solar car that our group made. But that was not without hardship because of this girl who just would not agree with anything. In the end, it all worked out because compromise. Next question. What are 3 things that are most important to you in a job? I would say the most important thing to me is I want to gain experience this summer. I think the most important thing about internships is just gaining experience because these internships are where you apply the things you learn in class, and then things you learn in internships are where you take back into class, and then once you graduate into your career. So this summer I want to gain as much experience as possible. Whatever is put in front of me, I want to be able to succeed in. Even if it's challenging to me, I know that if I persevere, like my grandpa's taught me, the experience that I'll gain from succeeding in a hard challenge will be insurmountable. Another thing that is important to me in a job, I would say, is having a positive and honest culture. I think a positive and honest culture within a workplace would create trust among coworkers. I want to, when I come up with an idea or if I have a project I'm working on, I want to hear feedback from someone. I want to hear what I could do better, what I'm doing well, and how I could make whatever I'm doing to perfection. But if there's not that trust in the workplace, how can I take that feedback to heart? So if I trust a person that's telling me, oh, if you change this one thing, that design might actually work, I'll trust them and use their words of advice and see if it does work. But if I don't trust that person, who knows? So just having that positive and honest culture. If they're honest with me, I'll be honest with them, and positivity, because criticism is okay, but constructive criticism is really what gets the job done. The last thing that's also important to me in the job is I want to have responsibility, I would say. I know when I get there, I'll probably have to do some menial tasks and just get the lay of the land. But by doing these tasks, I hope to work up and gain more responsibility. And I think that comes from that trust factor. If my bosses or superiors trust me, I would hope they would give me more substantial projects to work on, more meaningful tasks. And if they trust me to get it done, I mean, I know I'm always on time. Timelines are always met. So if they give me a job to do, I'll get it done to the best of my ability on time. But I think it all starts with trust. But in the end, I just want to gain those responsibilities, uh, such as different projects to do, uh, working with different people, learning new things, um, just and again, then going back to the first thing, just gain as much experience as possible. Give an example of an occasion when you use logic to solve a problem. Last summer, I interned at a precision metal manufacturing company called Americam. There, I worked on robotic drills, creating all sorts of different metal components for either military, for medical fields. Um, yeah, those are the two main things we made things for. Uh, and this job taught me a ton because in the end, I would say I want to be on the design or product development team. But this job last summer taught me what it looks like on the opposite side, the manufacturing side. So taking that design that someone made and actually bringing it to fruition into an actual piece of metal. So one of the projects I was working on last summer was creating a piece of a transmission for a tank engine, and not a tank engine, this tank transmission. And so the first operation of it was taking this casting and putting it in a FANUC robotic drill. And we had to program the robot. So I had help programming this robot to face the top and bottom, drill holes in it, and do all sorts of things into it. And then I had to do quality checks on that to ensure that it met company standards and customer standards. And then the second operation was where we came into trouble. So we had to put on this robot called the Mazag that spun, and then it had these inserts that would face the sides of it. But the tolerances for those faces they were very tight, so they had to be super smooth. And the inserts or the parts that were coming out were just too rough and they were not fitting under those tolerances. So we kept trying to change inserts, that didn't work. Tried to change feed speeds of the machine, that didn't work. We just tried everything we could think of. And finally, I just asked my boss, can we just hand sand these essentially? Just have the Mazag spin and then I'll hold a piece of like special sandpaper and lubricant to just do it by hand. And he said, I mean, it'll take a long time, but that should work. So I did that for the next like 3 days on 200 plus parts, and it did work. So I would sand them, take them over to the profilometer, check the face, and got them all out on time, packaged, and customer was very happy with the end product. So that was when I used just logic to, even though it took a little bit longer, it ended up working in the end. Last question, what was the first thing I ever designed? In elementary school, I was on the first robotic leg league team. I was on it for 3 years, and in my 6th grade year, I was voted the captain by my team. So essentially, I was the lead designer, is what it turned out to be. So robotics, the Lego League, it was, you get this Lego Mindstorm, and you are tasked with all these different challenges on this big map. And the main challenge was to go over all this rough terrain, pick up these plastic balls with your robot, and bring them back and drop them into this crate. So originally we were just thinking like a front loader scoop that would pick up the balls at the end, bring them back. But the problem was when we go over the rough terrain, all the balls would fall off the top. So I came up with a design to have another motor on top that would bring a cage down. So we had a program that turned on the motor turned counterclockwise to bring the cage down on top of the balls so that when it went over the rough terrain, the ball stayed in the scoop. And then at the end, both motors would open up and drop into the crate. So that was the first thing I designed. I think that taught me a lot about working in teams, and also just the design aspect of things. Thank you guys again for taking the time to listen to this. Hope to hear from you soon.